Super dry board, and it should get a lot of folds here. I'm not going to be folding this up though with overcard as well. To 10. So we're just going to call this here, and good luck. I'm just 9-7. We hold, baby. Double up, baby. What is going on, everybody? Poker Dad here. Hope you are having a wonderful day whenever you are actually just watching this. Today we are going to be reviewing hands, just running through some hands in my database. Let me actually just hide these player names here. Running through hands in my database. And the question that we are asking ourselves today is, what should we do if we get raised as the short stack? Now, I have reviewed these spots already in Pio, so I'm not going to be using any PioSolver work today because I've already done it off stream. Not off stream, off. I stream so much. Off. Off video already, that I'm actually just going to run through these hands here, and I will discuss, what I have really learned from the work that I have done. We are looking at hands where we have between 15 and about 25. I think that's what I made the filter. 15 and 25 big blinds. Yeah, 15 to 25 big blinds. So before we get this started here, if you want to follow me on Twitch, I am actually going to be picking up my streaming schedule. Go find me at twitch.tv/PokerDad2878. And also you can follow me on Twitter at PokerDad2878. Also, if you like this video, do me a favor and click that subscribe button. Now, without further ado, let's run through some hands here, and let's see what we got. So our first hand we have here is pocket sixes, opening up from under the gun. You can see, before we start, you see we have 24.72 big blinds. We open it up, get called by the big blind, and we cbet here, which is going to be pretty standard, and we get raised all in. So the question is, should we be calling off our pocket sixes here? The answer here is definitely going to be no. What hands would we want to call off here? We'd want to call off any ace here. We want to call off our flush draws here. Obviously our sets as well. We don't really have, we want to call off our two pairs as well here. If we have a hand like ace 10, we definitely want to be calling it off as well. Pocket sixes here is definitely going to be a fold. And that's what I did. I don't know what I did in these hands. We'll just take a look. I just ran this filter, and these are the hands we got. Okay, our next hand here is pocket tens. And we open it up and get a call there from the big blind. We're not going to be focusing on HUD stats or player type or anything like that. We're just going to look at some general, just the general play we should be doing here in the spot. So just let's go back to the beginning here. We have 17 big blinds. Our opponent has 10. And we throw out a really, really small bet here. We have a set of tens. And our opponent just raises. He doesn't jam, he just raises. So the question is, what should we do here? We have really two options. We could call or we could jam ourselves here. And I think really it's, with this kind of stack size, there really isn't much sense for ever calling. It's just going to be jamming. Obviously here with the set of tens, we could just jam it in, especially with there being two spades out there. Other hands that would just jam this in here is always just going to be the, any of our over pairs here, any of our tens here. We could just really jam this in here for top pair. Let's see, we open from the cutoff, so obviously we have hands like 7-6, 10-7 suited. If we open wide enough 10-6 suited, we can jam in here as well. We could jam in any of our flush draws here. We could jam in a hand like, obviously we have straights here we're jamming in. So there's a lot of hands here that we can have that we can jam in. We would obviously fold, our hands like that completely miss. Our backdoor flush draws, ace highs, over over cards. We're not going to be jamming in gut shots or anything like that. So that's what we'd be jamming in here. Obviously, tens we'd be jamming in. Happily take this one down. Here we have king, queen. So most of these spots here are going to be obviously versus the big blind. Be interesting to see if we have any spots. Yeah, I guess it's always going to be versus small blind or the big blind because we're in position. So unless, well, we could always end up having spots versus limpers as well, but we'll see what happens in that case. Here we start with this hand with about 20 big blinds. And this is an interesting board here. 9-4-3 with the king, queen. Our opponent checks, and we do c-bet here, and our opponent raises us here. So obviously, if we have like any 9, we want to jam it in here. Like, I guess we would have like ace 9, king 9, jack 9 we would have here. Queen 9, obviously. I don't know if I said queen 9. 10-9 we would have here. We could definitely have 9-8 here as well. I don't know if we would jam into 9-8 or not. That's actually an interesting one. Let me take a real quick look here. My database here. See if I got... I ran a script a while back. About 74 hands. Let me see if I have any 9 high hands that... see, this was our 9... part of the flush draw. It was. Do we have? If I have anything here that's similar. If not, we could just look at any one of these 9 high hands here. 9-8-6. That's very connected. What was this board? This was 9-4-3. 9-7-6. 9-7-3. I would have preferred to. I don't think it really matters here because we want to really look at the 9 specifically, and I'm really curious about 9-8. Let me just look at this board real quick here because 9-8 I'm actually kind of curious about if that's something that we would pull off a raise here with or jam. Give me 1 second here. Let's take a look. So these are all part of a script that I ran a while back for a specific subject. So I already have these types of hands already. So even though this is not exactly the similar situation, the same situation, it's just very similar where we would c-bet a hand, obviously like 9-8 here. Notice on this board here, like we're still c-betting a ton. We're c-betting about 73% of our hands here. All right, so we bet. Let's see, our opponent raises. So obviously, even 9-8 we're calling. I'm just curious now, if our opponent were to jam it, would we call 9-8? Yeah, we're still even calling a hand like 9-8, so we're literally calling all of our 9s still to a jam. And if we just get raised, you can see here we actually would jam our non-flush draw top pairs here, which is interesting. And actually call like a hand like this is 9-8. Regardless of if it's a flush draw or not. So we still would be calling, but we would now be folding our 9 to a raise, which is interesting. So that's pretty cool. And obviously we can see here, obviously our flush draws here. We could be just jamming in our flush draws here. This is interesting here, like, yeah, with this, we would be calling the flush draw, but jamming the non-flush draw, which is interesting. Jamming our weaker flush draws here, our weaker ace-high flush draws. Well, I mean, how weak could it be, right? But the thing is, like here, we're jamming these, we're blocking really any bluffs they would have, so we're going to get a lot more calls here, too. We're here, we're really not. We're just calling them, which is interesting. But, you know, here, like again, it's like we're pretty much jamming all of these kings. So really, the only flush draws we're not really jamming are these ace high flush draws here. But anyway, back to the particular hand. If obviously this is king queen, but if we had 9-8, we actually would be calling the 9-8 there. And obviously we'd be calling flush draws as well. We'd be calling our flush draws. We would be calling most of our ace high flush draws and jamming our other flush draws. And backdoor flush draws, I'm sure we always would be folding in these spots here. So like the diamonds here, you see we'd just be folding the diamonds here. This one here, like we would be calling because we have a gut shot, but that's a different situation. Obviously, it's a completely different hand, but the idea is we would be calling our we'd be jamming most of our flush draws here. So obviously the king queen here. This is just a very simple fold. Jack 10 suited. So I guess I'm going to go, but I don't want to make this video too long, so we'll do 10 hands. So we have already done 1, 2, 3. This is hand number 4. I don't want these videos to go too long. Maybe like a half hour tops. Well, maybe we'll do like right now, half hour tops. We'll look at this here. Because this essentially is my study session. And it's a topic that I'm reviewing today. So here, Jack 10 suited. We open up. Obviously, we get called. Stack size, by the way, we have 16.8 big blinds. And we cbet here. And we get jammed on. So I'll give you a second to think about it after what you've already seen and what you've heard me talk about. Do you think we would be calling this, or do you think we would be folding this? Well, obviously, we should definitely be calling this jam here with top pair and how short we are. So obviously, we'd be as sets. I mean, the weakest hands that we're going to be calling here that have value, we're going to be calling our top pair hands. We're not going to be calling our second pair hands. On a board like this, that is a rainbow board. This is an interesting one actually. We can call like Jack 9 with a backdoor flush draw is a draw, like a type of draw that we can call here. 9-7 we're not going to have. Jack 9 would be the really one of the only draw hands that we would call here. We're not going to be calling any of our backdoor flush draws, so we would be folding a lot two jams here. Jack 9 of diamonds, diamonds, spades, or hearts would be really the only draws that I believe we would call on this kind of board. Let me try and find a similar. Let's see if I have like a 10 high rainbow board, a similar type of a board here. We got this 10-8-4 board, which is pretty close, very, very similar actually. And it's a rainbow board. So we can take a look at this one real quick. See if there's any other draws that we would call off this jam with besides the open-ender backdoor flush draws. This is actually great because this board is very similar to the one we're looking at. As I somehow start losing my voice. Let's take a look here. We check that. Obviously, this is not all, but the idea is exactly the same. So here, the Jack 9, you see, with the backdoor, this is exactly like I said, with the backdoor flush draw. So spade, in this particular example here, where we have 10 of clubs, 8 of diamonds, and 4 of spades. We're calling off the backdoor flush draws. So what other? So you can see here, we're folding all the ace high, all the backdoor flush draws here. We're folding. You can see we are actually calling second pair here on this board. And the reason why would be because we do have the overcard as well on this board here. So we actually, like, with second pair with the overcard, we actually would be calling. Notice that the ace-4 hand here, we would be folding. So second pair with the overcard, we're calling. And even with, I guess we're just never, the 9-8, we're calling the 9-8 too, actually, which is interesting. So on a board like this, we are calling the 8, which is quite interesting, actually. I'm not sure the 9-8, why we're calling the jam there. Let's see. Like the 9-8 of hearts. I guess because we're not blocking their backdoor flush draw backdoor, like maybe they have like some ace high backdoor flush draws. Like we're not blocking that then, I guess, would be the reason. I'm not entirely sure, actually. If you know, definitely feel free to post in the comments below what you think the answer to that question might be. Obviously, we're calling off all of our over pairs as well here. You can see also we're actually calling off most of our nines, but it's actually really minus EV. You can tell by all the red over there that calling with these nines is actually really minus EV here. Even the 9/8 suit, like you can see, like we can call the 9/8 of hearts, but it's actually really minus EV. So like really in game, I would probably always fold that. But back to this particular hand here. This hand we should definitely be calling off the jam, and we did. Yeah, took it down. King, king. So you get the general gist of it now. Let's just try and run through as many hands as we can as possible, and let's just say if we should be calling or folding. And I'm going to pause and I'm going to let you think about it before I say what I think we should be doing, and then we'll take a look at the result. Also here, pocket kings. Should go back again to pre-flop. We have 22 bigs pre-flop. Pocket kings, we bet. Our opponent raises us, doesn't jam us. So what do you guys think we should do? I think here we should just obviously just jam in the kings. We're going to get called by queen, any queen, obviously. Which is exactly what happened. Pocket fives. We have 18 big blinds. We bet. Our opponent raises. So then the question becomes, should we call, fold, or rejam? And I think here the answer is pretty simple. We should be folding. Let's take a look at that one. Let's take a look. I'm pretty sure we should be folding. Let's see what here. We got like a king high, middling type board. King, queen, 9 is a good spot to look at. We can look at, I don't have fives in this particular range, but we can look at our under pairs here and see if we should actually be folding to a raise or not. Now, this wasn't a jam. This was a raise. Quick look here. We bet. So like here in this particular hand, we would have 8s, 7s, and 6s. Our opponent raises, and yep, folding. Folding all over under pairs here. And that's exactly what we do here. Pocket queens. We open it up. 10, 3, 2. We bet. Our opponent just raises, and raises really small. So would you call, bet, or raise? Call, bet, or raise. I mean, call or raise. And definitely not fold. You know you're not folding. I think here we just jam it, which we do. We just take it down. And I think like that's just a similar situation here where we would definitely most likely jam it. Let's check. Let's see. Let's look at a hand like 10-6-2. And let's look at our over pairs here. And yeah, you can see aces we're not jamming, but our other over pairs, for the most part, we're just jamming it. You see we're not really jamming the king of spades here, but I'm just jamming it. Screw it. Me, I'm just jamming it. Especially, you know, we're playing $22 lower tournaments. I'm just jamming that crap. Just jamming that crap, yo. Let's go. Pocket eights. King, 3, 5 rainbows. So this is interesting. We saw a very similar spot here before, but that was a 9 high board, I believe that was. We bet. Our opponent just raises. So I think here on a board like this, what would you do? I think here we just definitely would call this raise, but it's interesting. I guess we could jam it too. Um, I don't think jamming would be the right. This is an interesting one. This is an interesting one. Let's see if we have a similar board to this. Let's see if we have a board like this here, where here, perfect. King 5-4. We can use. I like. Let me see if we have like a rainbow board here. I don't know if we do. It doesn't have to be a king high board. We could do a queen high board too, I guess. If we got, let's see what we got here. I don't know if I have any rainbow boards here that would fit the bill. King 7-3. This is perfect. Let's take a look here. Load up. Oh, sometimes it takes longer for them to load up than some hands to load up longer than other ones, but okay. Check. We bet, and our opponent raises. He didn't jam it. He raised it. And you can see here that we are calling a hand like pocket eights. We can also jam them. Let's look at the ones we're jamming here. It wants us. It's saying jam our ace with a heart, which obviously our opponent could be raising with some backdoor flush draws, and they're so with the hearts we are not blocking their we're not blocking their backdoor flush draws. Where with the spade and the diamonds and the spade and the club, we're blocking a bunch of backdoor flush draw combos that they could be raising with here. So I think though it's an interesting spot versus a villain who may be a little bit passive, who may not be raising like that. I may still want to fold versus those opponents, even though Pio is suggesting that we can call. That is an interesting thing. We could take a quick look at this and node lock this here. So if we go to, let's say our opponent is, let's just do a little bit of node locking here. And let's just say that our opponent, we're really focused on this raise here. So let's just say our opponent is raising top pair or better. Let's say they're not even raising any draws. They're literally just raising top pair or better. We're going to set this strategy, lock all hands, set strategy, and close. And I'm going to pause the video for a second. We're going to come right back. I just got to run this with this node lock. Be right back, guys. Okay, so I am back. We ran the resolve by locking the node. So you can see here that we have our opponent pretty much raising with really top pairs and sets here. And two pair of hands that he would have. So when he just raises, you can see now a hand like pocket eights is just going to be a clear fold. And I think most opponents are going to be not really bluffing with backdoor flush draws and on a board like this here. So I think really this is the best play here is just by folding. You see, we folding any under pairs, even pocket queens and all this stuff here to a raise and just really going with the value and jamming in our kings, jamming in our top pairs here and our aces. Looks like we actually would be calling our sets here, which I think is kind of interesting. Our set of sevens and our set of kings here, which is quite interesting. But yeah, just folding out versus a raise here when our opponents really are never really bluffing on a raise on boards this dry. We'll take a look at a couple more hands here. And I did fold, thank goodness. Okay, over here we have ace-4 suited. And yeah, it's really, again, just not a great board for us. And he raises us here. He jams us all in. And I think, though, here we need to call it off with the backdoor nut flush draw. Although we could really make a case for folding this here. And let's say if we had a hand like ace 10 of hearts, I think I'd rather call that off than a hand like ace 4 of hearts. I folded this here. Let's see if we can just find an example like this real quick here. That, again, this is a... I might not have something like this, but I'm just going to say logically... Let's see if we do. I don't think we would have something like this. 853 is... All right, 853 I think is good enough here. It's close enough. 843. I think 853 is better. And let's take a look here. Like, I just want to look at backdoor flush draws. Ace high backdoor flush draws. Is there a difference between ace 4 suited and ace 10 suited? Is really what I want to see here. I'm not going to go through everything. I just want to literally just look at the backdoor flush draws and the ace high backdoor flush draws here on a board like this, where we bet, we get jammed on, and let's see, yeah. So a hand like ace 4. Now this does include a gut shot as well, but best place to look here is like ace 6, right? It's just, we should just be folding it. But again, calling the backdoor flush draws like ace 10, ace 9. And the reason I think this is because here now we have 2 overcards to the board. So not only do we have the backdoor flush draws, but we can make top pair with a 9. We could make top pair with an ace as well, which would be the reasoning. For this here. And I can see why we'd be folding these here, because we could be calling backdoor flush draw, and let's say he's raising. And again, it's unlikely that he's going to be raising those types of hands, but he could be raising with a nut flush backdoor flush draw. Again, pretty unlikely. So I'd be folding these anyway. But I think I would definitely, versus all players, be calling these backdoor flush draws here that have overcards to the board as well, versus all player types. Because, we got so many different outs to potentially improve. I think we should still be calling. I think we'd be overfolding if we were folding these types of hands, even to a recreational player. Or to a player, I shouldn't say recreational player, but to a passive player. I think we still should be calling these hands off here. The backdoor flush draws with the backdoor nut flush draws with the overcard. You can see it's not like the most plus EV play to make. You can see even here, like the ace 10 of spades is actually not minus EV to call. So I mean, perfectly fine to fold these hands as well. It's these aren't mandatory calls, but we can call them, depending on the player type as well. If it's versus a very aggressive player, then I think these are probably much better calls. So let's go. Let's just check one more hand here. We got the Jack 10 of clubs, and this would be a pretty easy one here. We get jammed on, and are we calling here or are we folding? And yeah, we're definitely calling here. And we did. Bam. So there has it. I think this was a great little short study session. Again, answering the question, what should we do if we get raised as a short stack? And yeah, I think this is a great little study session. I still want to look at other situations when we're a short stack, and we could do that in some future videos as well. But in the meantime, guys, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you like this and my other videos that I have posted. Also, feel free to come check me out. I play on Twitch, twitch.tv/BrokerDad2878. You can follow me over on YouTube as well. Also, feel free to join our Discord. I'm going to leave my Discord link in the chat. Feel free to join the Discord as well, and we can come and talk about things. And I like to also just post little updates about what's going on with me. And yeah, it's always a good fun time over there as well. So appreciate you guys coming and watching the video. And until next time, Poker Dad out.